Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Unfortunate Love was how Balwinder finally married Kamli instead of Lakshmi, which means that Lakshmi's plan worked and Malishka is shocked. So let's continue from there. After Balwinder realized that he got married to Kamli and not Lakshmi, Balwinder picked up the holy fire stick in anger. Virendra says Balwinder has gone mad. Grandma asks that what is Balwinder going to do? Balwinder thinks to throw the holy fire coal on Lakshmi's face, and that way Lakshmi's face will be destroyed and no man will want to marry her. Rishi comes there and eats Balwinder. Balwinder's friend comes there. Malishka says Rishi has returned and she gets angry. Rishi warns Balwinder and tells him that Lakshmi is not alone because I am with her. Rishi says if Lakshmi gets even a scratch, then I will kill you. Balwinder asks if you all plan against me. You, Ayush, Shalu and Bani, and says he will not spare them. Grandma asks Virendra if Rishi was here all along and he came to save Lakshmi. Virendra says Rishi couldn't see Lakshmi's life getting ruined and he came to save her. Malishka asks Neelam to see Rishi and says Rishi doesn't listen to anyone and he does only what he wants. Neelam says I don't know what happens to Rishi in Lakshmi's case. Where had Rishi's sensibility and maturity gone? Malishka says that she did not expect this from Rishi and she thinks that she never knew that Rishi would do such a planning. Rishi says to Balwinder that it was just Lakshmi's plan, but when I came to know about it, then I just supported her. Balwinder gets angry and says that he will not leave Lakshmi. Balwinder is about to attack Lakshmi, but Rishi beats Balwinder. Ayush owed Gudu while Virendra threatens the other goons to run away, else he will call the commissioner and they all run away. Rishi and Balwinder have a fight. Balwinder eats Rishi. Sheila picks the Sindoor bottle and goes to Balwinder. She stops him and asks if Balwinder will get anything with this forced marriage, and she asks him to accept it. Sheila says to Balwinder that destiny has changed the bride, and she asks him to fill the Sindoor in his real bride's forehead and make her as his wife. Balwinder says no destiny can change my decision now. Rishi eats Balwinder, and Rishi snatches the Sindoor bottle from Balwinder's hand. Balwinder tries to get the Sindoor, but Rishi throws the Sindoor bottle in the air and it hits the flower chandelier and it falls on Lakshmi's forehead. Lakshmi gets shocked and Grandma smiles, thinking that Rishi has finally applied the Sindoor on Lakshmi's head. Rishi and Balwinder looks at Lakshmi. Balwinder eats Rishi. Rishi also eats Balwinder and then he kicks him. Kamli comes in front of Rishi and asks him to leave her husband and says that Balwinder is her baby's father. Rishi tells Balwinder that he got such a good life partner like Kamli, but he doesn't deserve her. He says take care of Kamli always, because if Kamli have any trouble, then I will not leave you. Kamli asks Balwinder to come. Balwinder eats Kamli. Rishi owed Balwinder's collar and says don't you know how to talk to a girl? He says if anything happens to Kamli, then I will send you to jail. He says from today, Kamli is my sister, and if anything happens to my sister, then I will kill you. Rishi tells Kamli that if Balwinder troubles her, then she should let him know and he will not spare him. Balwinder thinks that he will take his revenge and he goes, while Kamli goes behind him. Ayush asks Gudu to go with Balwinder and they leave. Virendra comes to Lakshmi. Lakshmi asks Virendra. Virendra thanks Lakshmi and says you have saved my life by not marrying Balwinder. Grandma comes to Lakshmi and Lakshmi hugs Grandma too. Grandma blesses Lakshmi and says you are really a Lakshmi and you got justice for a helpless girl. Neelam says Lakshmi did not give justice to a girl, but she betrayed everyone and she fulfilled her own selfishness. Shalu says my sister did not do it for herself. Lakshmi stops Shalu and says that Kamli was about to die and I did this to save Kamli's life. Rano says to Lakshmi that you would have told us that you would not marry Balwinder. Lakshmi says Kamli's life was in danger, so I couldn't tell anyone, because if Balwinder had found out, then he would have hurt Kamli and he wouldn't have married her. Neelam asks Lakshmi that why did you call us here for your Kaya Dan and made us sit here for hours when you know that you are not getting married? Neelam asks Lakshmi to talk and says why did you call us here? Ayush says aunt. Neelam stops Ayush and she says to Lakshmi that you are a liar and a betrayer, but I did not know that you can cheat people like Balwinder and you can be so clever. Neelam says I cannot even think of it that you are this clever. Virendra asks Neelam why she blames Lakshmi always and he asks her to support the truth once. Grandma says to Neelam that if someone is making the temple dirty, then the temple doesn't get dirty. but the person doing the dirty becomes the sinner. Rano asks that what will happen with Lakshmi now and who will marry her. She says it was spread everywhere that Lakshmi is marrying Balwinder and says black dot has come on Lakshmi's head. Shalu says to Rano that nothing is going to happen to my sister. Bani asks Rano not to worry about Lakshmi's marriage. Rano asks if their dead parents will come to get her married. She says Lakshmi is a divorcee already and now her marriage to another guy broke before it even started. Ahana asks that so what? She says what if Lakshmi's marriage broke? Then will she end her life because of that? Ahana says to Rano that we will close our mouth and she asks her not to close her eyes and says it doesn't matter if a girl is a divorcee or not, but a girl shouldn't have to cover her face in shame every time. Rano says rich people like you don't have any problem, but our respect is our wealth as a poor family. She says nobody is going to marry Lakshmi, then who will marry Nia, Shalu and Bani? Lakshmi says to Rano that nobody's marriage is going to break because of me and says that the priest saw everything. Neelam says to Lakshmi that you write everyone's destiny. You are very inauspicious and wherever you go, you make the person's life inauspicious. Rishi says nothing is inauspicious and says that no inauspicious have happened with anyone because of Lakshmi. Rishi says to Neelam that I am sorry, but I have to tell you this. He says Lakshmi did not do anything wrong with me, but I did wrong with Lakshmi. Rishi says if someone is a betrayal, yeah, then I am the betrayal because I married Lakshmi to get saved from my bad luck. Rishi says just as Lakshmi came to know, then she left, but she returned to save me from the same bad luck without caring for herself. Rishi says to Neelam that every time Lakshmi saved me always and says that whoever saves lives cannot ruin the same life. He says Lakshmi's life and her happiness is my responsibility. Rano asks then why did you divorce Lakshmi? She asks how will I take care of 4 daughters? How will I bear the expenses? She says you people are big and you will not pick my cause also even if I ask for help. So what should I do? Rano says to everyone that I have to bear the taunt of people because Lakshmi's sister will not marry because of Lakshmi. Shalu says no problem, we don't want to get married, but we cannot see my sister getting married to Balwinder. Rano says Raul and Ketu are stuck again and says handling the responsibility is not a joke and she asks them to keep quiet. Rishi says to Rano that I am taking up this responsibility and says I would handle Lakshmi's life. Malishka asks what responsibility and says you and Lakshmi are divorced and says that there is no relationship between you, so no responsibility. Rishi says we have relationship of friendship and humanity and says that they have a sacred relationship which he himself couldn't explain. Rishi says to Rano that this promise I had done before the marriage, that Lakshmi's responsibility is mine and it is my promise. Malishka asks Rishi if he will marry Lakshmi again. Rishi says no and says I don't deserve Lakshmi. He says I had married Lakshmi by cheat, else this marriage wouldn't have happened. He says I will search for a good guy for Lakshmi, who deserves Lakshmi and who can take care of her, and Lakshmi get teary eyes. Rano says to Rishi that why did you promise, and she asks him to ask his family first. Virendra says if Rishi has done this promise for his truthfulness, then I am with Rishi. Grandma says even me. Rano asks if Rishi would take Lakshmi with him. Rishi says yes and says I will take Lakshmi with me. Neelam says no, Lakshmi will not return to my house and everyone is shocked. Rishi says to Neelam that Lakshmi have to come home with me and says it is necessary because I cannot look into my own eyes and the time has come to do penance for my mistakes. Lakshmi says stop it please. She asks who am I? She asks if she is just a toy that Rishi will play with. She says first you married me and then you divorced me and now you want to search for a guy to marry me. Lakshmi asks Rishi to stop it and says don't say this again. Rishi says I will search for a guy for you and I promise that I will select the best guy for you. Neelam asks what are you saying? Rishi asks Neelam not to say anything and he gives her swear that she will not reject his decision and Neelam is shocked. Rishi asks Lakshmi to come home with him but Lakshmi refused to go anywhere with him and she goes out. Rishi goes out behind Lakshmi and Lakshmi asks that what are you doing? Rishi says I had made a promise that I will be with you always, so that is what I am doing. Lakshmi asks Rishi not to promise her anything. Rishi says he has no meaning in life without Lakshmi and says he needs Lakshmi. Rishi says to Lakshmi that I don't want you to punish me and I want you to be with me. Lakshmi says nothing is left now, and she asks Rishi not to force her and says she wants Rishi to go away from her life. Rishi says, I want to be in your life for you and for us. Lakshmi says no, and she goes from there. Shalu tells Bani that brother-in-law is thinking so much about Lakshmi, even when his marriage is fixed with Malishka. Bani says brother-in-law loves Lakshmi truly, but he wants to get her married to someone else. Shalu says Rishi doesn't realize his love until now, but it is good that he thinks about Lakshmi, and Shalu and Bani pack Lakshmi's bag as Rishi is taking her back to the Oberoi house. Lakshmi says to Shalu and Bani that I am not going anywhere. Rishi is sitting outside while Rano is standing. Shalu asks Lakshmi to listen to them. Bani says if you don't agree to go with brother-in-law, then we will not talk to you. They pack Lakshmi's bag and come to the marriage hall to give her back to Rishi, and Rishi goes to talk to Lakshmi. Lakshmi thinks of how to stop Rishi from taking her back to the house. She thinks that I cannot return into Rishi's life after so much that is happening. Rishi comes there and asks that why can't you return with me? Lakshmi asks Rishi to go, and she asks him not to be stubborn. Rishi says you are wrong, and he asks that why are you refusing to come with me, and says I have taken your responsibility. Lakshmi says to Rishi that I don't want to come between Malishka and you. Rishi says you are not coming between us. He says I want to see you genuinely happy. Lakshmi says I am happy. Rishi says I know that you are not happy because I am connected to you by heart. He reminds Lakshmi of her father's words about her savior and soulmate. Rishi says to Lakshmi that your father wanted you to get a person who can hold your hand and shield you and who will fight with anyone for you. He says, I want to fulfill your father's wish, so you have to come back home with me. Rishi holds Lakshmi's hand and tells her that he wants to fulfill her father's wish and says, you obeyed your father, now please obey me. Rishi says to Lakshmi that I couldn't be a good life partner, and he asks her to let him be a good friend. He holds her hand and takes her out of the room. Shalu and Bani get happy seeing Rishi taking Lakshmi, and they have a hug. Malishka thinks that Lakshmi should not come back home and says I cannot work more hard to kick Lakshmi out, and she panics. Malishka says to herself that Lakshmi is not moving away from their lives and says Lakshmi is the bad luck of my own life. She hopes that she doesn't come back, and she sees Rishi holding Lakshmi's hand and bringing her outside. Rishi makes Lakshmi sit in his car, and he keeps her luggage in the car decky, and Malishka looks shocked. Rishi sits in the car and drive off, while Malishka is standing there and looking in shock. Malishka's driver brings her car. Malishka sits in the car and she recalls Rishi taking up the responsibility of Lakshmi and saying that Lakshmi's happiness is his till the last breath, and telling Ranu that he will take Lakshmi away from there. Malishka cried and she asked the driver to stop the car and get down. The driver continues to drive and Malishka shouted at him to park the car and get down. The driver says sorry and says I did not hear. Malishka asks him to shut up and get down. In Rishi's car, Lakshmi thinks of Rishi's promise, and then she thinks of Neelam, who regards her as inauspicious, and telling her that her reflection brings destruction for them. Shalu and Bani thank God for not letting Balwinder marry Lakshmi and for sending Lakshmi with Rishi. She thanks God. Ranu thinks that she will eat them with her shoes, and she thinks that Balwinder and Neelam will take their money back from her, and she thinks that she has lost millions of rupees. Shalu tells Bani that they should make sweet, but Ranu stops them and started yelling at them. Ranu tells Shalu and Bani bad words, and she called them corny, clever, and good for nothing. She asks that why didn't you tell me that Lakshmi was pretending if you know it already? Shalu asks that if you had known the truth, then would you have gotten Balwinder's marriage with Kamli done? Ranu says why? Balwinder should have married Lakshmi. Ranu says that is why we did not tell you. Shalu says to Ranu that you had said that one daughter is extra here, and now the extra daughter, which is Lakshmi, is gone from here. So no more complain, and they go to make awa. Ranu is angry and she says she will see how Rishi's family members will let Lakshmi stay there. Grandma asks Virendra if Lakshmi will return. Virendra says both Rishi and Lakshmi are stubborn, so I don't know. Neelam comes home with Ahana. She says, I know that you both are talking about Lakshmi. Ahana says Rishi will bring sister-in-law back surely. Neelam says, oh God, you are also talking about this? Ahana asks Virendra that should I call Shalu and ask her if Lakshmi is coming with Rishi. Grandma says yes, else I have to take my BP medicine. Virendra says we will be peaceful, and he asks Ahana to call Shalu. Malishka is driving her car and following Rishi's car. Lakshmi asks Rishi to stop the car. Rishi says, until you tell me the reason, then I will not stop. Ayush comes home and dances, singing a song. Everyone is surprised. Ayush dances, holding Ahana's hand. Ahana asks if his girlfriend has eloped because he is singing in a bad voice. Ayush says to Ahana that why will his girlfriend dance after separating from him, and says the real girlfriend is coming here. Ahana asks whose girlfriend. Ayush says Rishi's girlfriend, Lakshmi's sister-in-law, is coming here, and says that he has talked to Shalu and it is confirmed. And Ahana, Virendra and Grandma get happy. Lakshmi asks Rishi to stop the car else she will jump. Rishi asks her to tell him the reason. Grandma says, I am thankful to God that Lakshmi is returning to the house. Virendra says the Lakshmi who was needed here is coming back. Ayush and Ahana dance again. Neelam gets up and vents out her anger on Ayush, and she slaps him hard, and Ayush is shocked. It's the way my voice is keeping at the end of this video for me. Guys, I need to go and sleep. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to share it. And don't forget to check the comment section for the link to the next episode. And I will see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.